Hi, my name is Colin Schmidt, Executive Director of America Scores Bay Area. Thank you for joining this webinar. I appreciate you taking this time to learn about passion, vision, and authenticity in periods of adversity or crisis. I'm grateful for you to learn a little bit more about the amazing work that America Scores coaches are doing for our communities right now, for low-income communities, at-risk youth, and what they're doing to help people in need. My goal here is to illustrate some learnings that I've experienced around leadership and coaching and some of the common denominators critical for success. I'll share a few stories and share with you my own journey with my own coach. That's part of this story of how best to navigate. So, a little bit about myself. For context, I founded America Scores Bay Area 20 years ago. I was enchanted by the combination of activities, soccer, poetry, and service learning. I was enchanted by a program that was accessible for families who couldn't afford pay-to-play sports or other enrichment activities. I loved that it was team sports plus individual voice, individual creative self-expression, and that it had this ethos of giving back, of service learning, of helping others. One of the key points here that I'm going to make is that leadership and coaching is helping other people meet their needs. Their needs. So it's a critical piece of the puzzle here in terms of alignment. Flash forward 20 years, right? Scores was doing great. We were on a path of growth. We were actually going to grow 40% last year. That was the plan. And then COVID hit. And since then, I've learned more in this last 6 months than I learned probably in all that 20 years. And that includes a dual business school program that I went through with Haas School of Business at Berkeley and Columbia Business School in New York. Adversity accelerates learning. Before Scores, I lived in the mountains in Colorado. I grew up in Colorado. I traveled in Central America, lived in Central America. And all along, I've been involved in sports in some way. I've been involved in nonprofits. These were early and consistent passions for me. And with Scores, this was the opportunity for me to follow my passions, to create a leadership opportunity out of an authentic passion and one that I thought would help empower others, right? So I had a vision of what I think we could do. So, all was going well. COVID hit, and this is where I learned a lot specifically about leadership and coaching and sales, frankly. Sales is very similar. The ingredients to success in leadership and coaching and sales has a very common denominator. Adversity, again, just to make this point strong, is a great learning opportunity. Growing up in Colorado, I learned to drive in extreme weather conditions, for example, right? Snow, rain, ice, poor visibility. And as a result, I gained a lot of skills, I gained confidence that makes me an expert driver. I also had some luck along the way, to be clear, but again, learning how to drive through a blizzard has made me a good driver. I'm sure you have lots of examples of how you've made it through adversities, through things that you've encountered at work or in relationships, right? And if you've made it through that, you've learned something for sure. And again, encourage you to reflect on that, what did work, and to see if there's some of these common denominators that we're talking about today. And I also just want to be clear, right, that even the adversity that I've had, whether it's going to Costa Rica without a plan or a place to stay, and working my way through that, or this trip I had after college where I was ran out of money, 300 miles from the airport where I was supposed to depart from. 3 days and 300 miles, right? I had a lot of learning in that period. But to be, this is not, these are just examples of accelerated learning, but they're not adversity that many people are experiencing. Like the real trauma, the real hardship that families that America Scores work with, that people are experiencing now, have been experiencing for a long time, health, economic inequality, oppression. These are real hardships, and just to be clear about that. And just an example, and I just read this in the LA Times the other day. San Rafael, one of the neighborhoods that we work with in Marin County, has 75% of positive COVID cases. A 2.5 mile part of town, the Canal District, 16% of the total population of Marin County, high density, has 75% of the cases, right? Average income in that area is less than $35,000 a year. Average rent's $2,000 a month. You do the math there, you see there's not a lot of discretionary income for anything. But that's true hardship. But again, we all have our things that we're working through, the contexts that we were working in. For me, I was a leader of an organization that hit a wall, right? Unless you're Amazon or Facebook or an online gaming company, you and your industry have been tested. You've experienced adversity at a meaningful economic level. And to succeed, right, to get through that, you have to be relevant to the moment. You have to navigate step by step through the landmines that are happening around you. But more importantly, right, you have to look forward. You have to have a vision. You have to have a vision that brings other people with you. A couple quick examples too, just from my own life. When I was in Colorado, I was a ski patroller, and I was also a ski instructor. And a common problem people had was that they would look down when they were skiing. They looked at their feet, and they didn't look down the hill, right? That's not good skiing, and it's also dangerous, particularly as you're coming across obstacles, moguls, trees, other skiers, right? You really have to see where you're going and map your path, right? Good example. My wife told me of another example. We were talking about this, and she said, when people cut cloth, that the trick is to look ahead of the scissors, to look towards the uncut cloth. And I was trying to understand that. Why is that? And technically, you've got threads, right? Some are running vertically, some are running horizontally in a crisscross pattern. You have warps and wefts, and there's tension, there's stress, there's opposing forces that will cause that fabric to fray, particularly if you're trying to look right at the scissors and navigate, chop, 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 chop. You really have to look forward and push into that uncut fabric, look ahead, right? So again, just a couple examples of just vision, and finding that path. But before you have vision, right, you must have passion. And I think passion is really what defines authenticity. And passion, perhaps more importantly, creates the connection, the common denominator with other people, alignment with other people, whether it's staff, a team, a business partner, a business relationship, a sales, a sponsor. You have to find alignment. You have to find alignment at the passion level and the vision level, right? People who believe what you believe. And when COVID hit, we had a ton of tension, right? A lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty. Scores programs came to a screeching halt. School stopped, after school stopped. What we had been doing for 20 years wasn't possible anymore. Our funding was in jeopardy. Caution was advised. Headlines were shouting closing, foreclosure, bankruptcy, layoffs, turmoil, pandemic, health, death, destruction, social unrest, right? hardships in every direction. And at that point, passion kicked in for me, for coaches, for staff, right? We doubled down our efforts to just stay connected in any way possible. We have a cheer at America Scores. Before every game day, we get everybody together and we have a cheer. Part of that cheer is commitment, I will be there. Teamwork, because we care. So when things stopped, we pivoted quickly to the virtual world. We actively showed up in any which way we could. Phone, email, text, social media, Zoom, whatever. We wanted to let the children in our program know that we will be there and that we care, right? Particularly in this time of fear, uncertainty, isolation, all sorts of concerns. We wanted to be present. But for me, I was passionate, but I didn't have a vision. I was looking down. I was looking down at the immediate turmoil, the stress, and the fraying around me. I didn't know what to do. And what I realized is that I needed help. I needed a coach. I needed somebody to help me get my head up and see what was possible, see where we could go, to look past the current blizzard, if you will. And I found a great coach who gave me a framework and a playbook and help skill. He gave me skills. He gave me a place to have my passions be constructive. How to find people who could help, how to bring in other people, again, partners, staff, funders. How we use our passion and our vision to align with people specifically. He taught me about the 3-act play of act 1 being passion, vision, and consequences and needs. Like if we don't do this, if we don't go forward, these are the consequences. And to get alignment, we can't let that happen. We got to do something, right? So yes, what are the goals? What are the benefits? If we can do this, if we can get this partnership, if we can get this funding, if we can get this program up and running, right? We can succeed. We can win. We can be relevant. So that, having that framework gave me, got my head up and on a path that it helped us navigate. Act 2 of the framework is specific around value creation and helps give details to the path forward. Like again, if we can do this, if you will help, if you come into this partnership, if you do this job, and we can accomplish this, and this, we can deliver these things, right? Then we will create value that are aligned to your needs and the needs of in this case the organization, right? And again, the fuel, passion, vision, needs consequences. Got to do something. Let's do this, and let's agree on it. And Act 3 is the agreement, the close, right? In a sales context, that's very important. You have to confirm and bring closure to everything you've talked about. You need to address objections, concerns, fears, right? That is part of this process. I look at it. One of the examples we use is a river rafting guide. You have to get people on your boat. You have to get them to align with their needs, to want to do something fun, to have an adventure, to make it back safely, right? And you got to get them in the boat, and then you literally have to get people rowing in the same direction so that you can make it down the river, navigate the boulders and the waves, the rapids, and you got to bring them back safely. So that's a little bit of this, how you approach conversations, getting people together, aligned, excited, whatever it is that their needs are, and to address their concerns, their fears and objections that they might have, and to say, okay, let's go, let's push off, and this is what's going to do, this is what's going to happen, this is when, this is how. So that's, again, that's a lot of what I learned in this last 6 months. We did it over and over again, and we moved forward. We moved forward in Class 5 Rapids, right? Drake's Passage. We kept the staff going at full capacity. We worked tirelessly to connect with our students, to be there, to show up. Our partners appreciated it. They honored their contracts. They stayed with us. We created new partnerships in this period. We created new momentum. People saw our passion. They saw our vision. We created value. We created meaning. We closed deals, right? And we kept it going. And excuse me. And then, as a result, right, we are relevant today in this moment, unprecedented moment, and we're building for an organization that will win in the future, that will succeed in the future. And it's the same model. We'll use the same model, the same playbook. So to bring it all home, right, I want to stress that for me personally, it was a journey that, number one, started by recognizing that I needed help, that I could really benefit from a coach, right, who was outside of my particular situation but could help me meet my needs, just like we have coaches helping others in the field, in the communities. And I needed new skills, number one, but what I really appreciated too, and scores coaches do this day in and day out, is it's not just skills, right? It's that sense of creating that sense of safety, to be authentic, to share your needs, to fears, objections, whatever, to create a safe space. Good coaches, good leaders do that, create that safe space. Scores coaches do it. They do it physically, create a safe space. That's very important. Particularly important online, safety, privacy, safety, things around that nature. But emotional safety, I think, is the point, the bigger point here. Good coaches, good leaders, scores coaches are experts, extremely competent in social emotional learning, social emotional intelligence, particular expertise in trauma-informed care, to be able to deal with people who are in heightened emotional states or easily triggered because of their experiences that they're in. So scores coaches do every day what on a different way, in a different level, did my coach did for me. They help, good coaches help people become confident. They help increase the skills, for sure. They meet you where your needs are. They help you help others. Again, this is, I believe, a virtuous cycle with your own ability to maneuver, to lead, to be an example, to have a passion, to have a vision. That's a cycle, a virtuous cycle, falling dominoes. So to conclude, to lead, you help others. You help them increase their abilities and their confidence. You help them help other people, and there's nothing more rewarding than that, to do that in times of in times in normal times, but also in times of extreme adversity where need is great. So I really appreciate you listening to this, and I invite you to learn more about America Scores and the winning formula, the winning path that we're on as an organization through this period in time, but beyond. Like we're positioning to be a strong organization that grows, that reaches more communities, more coaches, empowers more coaches, reaches more kids, so that they can access these types of experiences that many of us took for granted. Playing on a team sport, being involved in a quality after-school program, having, a coach, a teacher, listen to us, help us express ourselves, right? Being part of those teams. That's what drives us. That's what drives our passion. To learn more about America Scores, please reach out to me. You can also reach out to Paul, our program director, who can tell you specific ways to get involved, specific ways to help. Paul at americascores.org. If you want to know more about coaching, my coach, the coach I've used, it's intuitiveiq.com. You can go to the website or email info@intuitiveiq.com. I'm also happy to share more of my experience with that. But one way or another, wish you well. Thank you again for your time, and hope we can cross paths in the future. All right, onward. Passion, vision, authenticity, secrets to success. Thanks. Bye.